Hey, this is Dwayne Golden, and I'd like to just first of all ask you to like, share this video, as I think it's going to be a huge help for many in the marketplace. It is time for people to at least just wake up a little bit and see what's happening in 2020 as it relates to cryptocurrency, and then find out what you can do to certainly give yourself a more secure foundation. So, as I talk about this, note, yes, I've seen all the trends. I know what's going on, right? And I'm happy to be a part of some of these trends, and I'm sure so should you. Have you heard about the many people who've already made more than $500,000 with Ether, or maybe even 800,000 or 900,000 or a million in Ether? And then everyone's getting geared up for, I've counted, I think, like 33 new Tron businesses that are coming, and very excited about them, and people will do well. There'll be some people making a lot of money. Then you've heard about all of the fees are going up so high. We've already had the Bitcoin halving. We've got so many things going on in the market. Where do I go? What's new? How do I find my place, right? So I'm going to give you my feedback so you can have personal success in the crypto environment without necessarily being a sheep. You can actually find your way and make choices based on information that is going to be beneficial to you. So let's look at the cryptocurrency business in 2020. And we've seen some things. We've had, I think May 11th, we had the Bitcoin halving, right? Which is amazing. Now, all of a sudden, the miners can process a transaction where miners receive 50% fewer Bitcoins for processing a transaction. Well, what does that mean? It means that there's, since that time frame, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, not much, but a little bit more expensive to process transactions, and different things influence that, on the lower amount, or if you use a custom fee that you want to make really, really low, or if you just use regular, will it influence it, a regular processing fee, or you can choose priority so it goes within the hour. All those things are affected by this Bitcoin halving. And that's pretty cool. So that's one of the things. People are looking forward to it because they know that typically within 18 months or so to 20 months after the halving, the Bitcoin price has each time since its inception has been gone up to more than 10,000%. Interesting, right? Well, that's one thing. That's something that's been pretty powerful in 2020. The next thing is there's been this pass off of this decentralization illusion, as if a typical Bitcoin transaction was not decentralized. What's happened is people who has followed as sheep have been forced to believe that decentralization of responsibility is nearly as important as the decentralization of the currency transaction itself. What do you mean, Dwayne? I mean that companies have posed themselves as being more beneficial to you because there is no company and no one can run off. I mean, first of all, that doesn't even make sense if you think about it. Someone put the thing together, right? They just don't want to take responsibility. In most cases, they want to take no responsibility. The other thing is, that's a false. Because of this illusion, this decentralized illusion, decentralization is fantastic, by the way. When there can be an open transaction between you and I that's available on a public ledger, right? That's amazing. So, of course, Bitcoin, Ether, Tron, Dash, right? I can mention many currencies can have a transaction, and there is no government that's going to interfere and determine and take money out of it. There is no bank that's going to take money out of it. It's already done between myself and the other entity or the other person, right? And there's an outside force or an outside party that called miners that will actually verify to make sure everything's okay between us. That's beautiful. That's a decentralization you need. But don't be mistaken. If you are going to be pulled into this illusion, if you're told there's no reason to support you, so there's no support. If you lose your money, sorry, there's nothing we can do. That's just because it's completely decentralized. You're on your own. You're being sheep. You're falling. You're falling for the big illusion. We don't want you to. So, now that I've said that to you, I want you to get this. It is an illusion. So, if a company dares to not be represented, there's a greater chance they could have an issue. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make a lot of money. People have made a ton of money with the program, so I'm not against that. I'm not saying that. I just want you to know if that's the reason you're deciding to join it, you're setting yourself up like you did for the last illusion that you fell for, and then you claim that someone stole money from you, right? You claim that they took off with your money. So decentralization is a good thing, but if decentralization means decentralization of responsibility, means have no one that you can hold accountable if something goes wrong. If the site goes down, who do I go for? If, in fact, someone made a transaction to me and I don't get the money, who can I contact? Who can I get to make this straight? If I've paid and the person never received it, who can I come to? This kind of decentralization is an illusion that it's a good thing, because it's not a good thing. I'm just telling you. You don't have to like it. This is not a ploy to get you to join anything that I have. I don't care what you do. I want you to know how this works. Now, there's another one. There's the instant trend, instant payment, which is beautiful. It really is. Now, instant payments, I love the idea so much that a person doesn't have to wait for a company to pay them out. Or, as many say, run off with a new private jet. They could, each person pays individually. They call this peer-to-peer. The instant peer-to-peer model is one that is fantastic. I don't disagree. In fact, I love it. I just absolutely love it, and I think you should too. You can be paid when someone's joining you in your business. They're paying you and not the third-party company. I think that's phenomenal. I think you should. The Ether trend. Hey, guess what? We're not going to use Bitcoin because it takes so long before you get your transaction, and it's processed slower, so we won't use it. So we're going to go with Ether. Not a bad idea. Go with Ether because it will be relatively fast. Now, what most won't tell you and most don't know, I'm going to tell you, right? By owning a development company, I can tell you what happens. The source code for a smart contract, be it Ether or any other type of smart contract, cannot be edited or changed. Because it can't be edited or changed, that means that if something goes sour within the program or the format, the only answer is to start a new one. Because you can't go back and change and edit it once it's already put in place. Now, what does that cost? What does that mean? What you've seen is the trend of Ether programs, starting with the grandpapa of them all, who's done a great job, Forsage. They've done a great job with what they've done. The thing they didn't do a great job with, they didn't know, is that the greater the complexity in the compensation plan means the greater complexity in the source code, which means in order to process the transaction, the only answer for this is to increase the fee, the gas fee. The gas fee goes up based on the greater the complexity of the source code. And if you have comp plans that are, hey, well, if it lands on this person gets it. If this person doesn't get it, this one will get it. And they have to join the other one first, which is the other part of the comp plan. You can see that with this type of thing, you're going to have a high gas fee eventually. Starts off slow and builds up like a snowball to where it's unreasonable or you're unable to manage it. Now, that's the Ether trend. The Ether trend is that it is a good thing because it can be fast. It is a bad thing because if there's a problem such as increased gas fees, the only answer is to create a whole new program. So FYI, if you didn't know it, that's what's going on. And so now there's a new trend. That new trend looks like this. I call it the Tron Trend. The Tron Trend is one I know because, man, I'm telling you, I've pulled into so many of these groups. What do you call these? Telegram groups. And I could tell you, there's a ton of them. I think I've counted 34. With these trends, they're not bad. They're beautiful. But I don't know if anybody's caught on to it yet, but Tron is in the Ethereum family. and built on the Ethereum blockchain. So, complex source code that can never be changed or never be edited. In these smart contracts, it will increase. They will have increased gas fees. Not right now when they launch. No, in a few months when there's tens of thousands of people joining because of this, and in order to process the transaction, they have to evaluate the source code that says, if A, then B, plus C, then it gets passed up to the sponsor, but the person can have it then. That is what's creating the increased gas fee. Hello. So what does that mean for you? It means that you can certainly leverage these things, but note that because of this, they have to be disposable, which means they have a life expectancy. And that shelf life will vary. That shelf life means get it while you can. But people will, unfortunately, those who get caught in the tail end, will be losers. They will be, unfortunately, nothing they can do. The ones that join the same day that the company decides they're going to start a new one. What's next? NEM, ADA, what? That leads me to my next statement. My next thing in 2020, the Bitcoin trend. I like, personally, the Bitcoin trend because whatever you do, it can be edited. If you don't like the way the thing is set up, you can always change the source code. It means that if our fees are, let's say the cost of a product or a package is $50 in value, but Bitcoin goes up by 10,000%, it means you can edit the source code. You never have to shut down the program and leave everybody hanging. You can actually literally make the change. It also means that because of some technology that our company created, any company now can have instant Bitcoin. You don't have to worry about how long it takes to process. It shows up in the wallet of the recipient within 1 to 2 seconds of when the transaction is made. My favorite thing about it is, the Bitcoin trend, is it leaves an open-endedness to a business model. A model where a company does not have to plan to survive for 3 to 6 months and walk away. It means they can go exist indefinitely because it's peer-to-peer payments. It really doesn't require a lot of action, but what it would, I recommend, if you're going to get with one of these, make sure that they do support you, that they offer support. If there's an issue, how can you get your money? Now, what I didn't tell you is, many people don't know this, in the Ethereum blockchain, there are thousands of transactions that are pending. And there's nothing that can be done about them, the pending ones, right? The sender sent the currency. The recipient didn't receive it because it was the wrong amount. Someone makes a mistake and sends the wrong amount. It goes into what I call purgatory. And if there's a company that says we don't offer support, right? There's no way to get it. And there are no owners, which means you're out on your own. That means that it's just going to sit there. There's no one or nothing that can interfere with it because it's based on the code. If there's a bug in the source code, that bug is there. There's nothing, it can't be taken out because you can't edit it. If this is Bitcoin, you have the ability to do that. So I know there are a number of instant Bitcoin programs that have entered the market. Congratulations. Well, I'm just giving you feedback. I don't care what you join or what you do, okay? If you notice, I didn't mention my company name. I don't mention any company names that I'm recommending that you join or any of that. I'm just telling you how it works. Bitcoin is the way to go. Instant Bitcoin is certainly the way to go. What can you do about it? At least you can seek a resolve and no one's going to run off with things. And so I wouldn't touch anyone that says they're decentralized as a business. I'm not a big fan of decentralization as a business. I think a business should be centralized in that the people who are purchasing or using their things have a right to seek answers. And if it's decentralized and you don't have anyone to get answers from, I'm not a big fan of that. That's just me. So anyway, this is Dwayne Golden. I had to put this out today because I am inundated with phone calls and inbox messages about this idea. And I figured I'd just put the jelly on the lower shelf so you can get it. This is Dwayne Golden. God bless you. I wish you all the best in whatever you're going to do. If you haven't, certainly watch this again if you need to. Share it. Let people know that there's more to this than just hopping on a bandwagon, right? And there are things you can do to ensure long-term success rather than what I call intermittent success, where you go, oh, I've had it for 3 months. I was doing great. Now I got to look for something else. Oh, they're starting a new one. We're going to start a new one. You could literally land the plane. And that's why I'm here, to wish you all the best and let you know that's possible. Take care.